right, guys, it is Sunday fun day. You can always tell. Look at it. If only I had this much enthusiasm when I worked Monday to Friday. But I do. I do have that much enthusiasm. I honestly do, because I do love building cars for customers. It's just I love building my own stuff because I get to do what I want to do, or customers tell me what they want me to do, which is all good. I like to make their dreams come true. But right now, I'm trying to make one of my dreams come true. So, if you remember, I left off, I was showing you I'd fitted the seat, made some back panels, stuff like that. And I said I was going to do a little tinkering during the week to tidy up a few things. There was no point in me finish filming for you guys. So I'll show you what I got finished off here. Okay. Let's come around inside the car. So what we did do, Chris gave me a hand here, actually on Friday. You can see the hole. I had to take it back out. We took it back out because, you know, we're not going to leave it in there. But we got the shifter all figured out. The shifter's all worked out, figured out. You can even see the arm hanging off the tranny down there. That's all worked out. The shifter's working. Gas tank, if you remember, we were fitting all this piece and we had the boards in between here. I made some nice pieces. You can see my angle iron down here. I made some nice pieces that slip in here that kind of stop anything, because I told you that from the other side of the gas tank underneath I was going to keep my cleaning supplies. So I put these here not only just to stop the fumes from the tank coming into the cab area, but to also stop stuff from sliding through. Now someone had mentioned, they had said, Rick, I like the way you think everything through. And you showed this on videos. Like, I'm not a teacher, guys. I'm just a guy out here having fun, and whether I'm doing it right or wrong to you, I don't know. But to me, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying myself, and it's what I'm doing. So what I also did was I added, these are the factory braces here. It was screwed into the wood, was factory riveted down here onto the thing. I added a couple extra braces. I screwed it in the wood in case I ever want to replace the wood, but I welded it down there. I did that so when the door panel goes on, it's something extra for the upholstery guy to bolt to, or screw to, or whatever he wants, and it adds good strength to the car. So I did that on either side. Now what a lot of other people do when they're building these cars is they'll lose all the wood out of here, even down in the gems, and they'll replace it with metal. But this car was already built, if you remember when I got it, it already had the wood in it, and I'm just going to leave it alone. Why would I get involved in messing with it? And honestly, this wood is going to outlive me. That's all there is to it. So now, when I'm building these panels that go in here, I'll show you something for an example. I didn't want to butt them straight up against the side panel, because I'm going to dynamat all this in here. So if I butted them straight in there, then I tried to slide the metal in, the metal's going to be pushing up on the panel and denting the panel. So I'm going to show you something here, which I'll explain what I've done here in a minute. See, I've left a thin gap, and I grabbed myself a piece of dynamat, because I got some here, and I made sure it fit in here nicely. So when this panel's on, it's right against the dynamat, not against the body of the car. Now this is something totally different that I did. Well, you guys were working during the week and I was playing a little bit in between work. I built a shelf along here. And what that shelf does is look at that battery. This is a nice little battery. We'll start this car no problems. Chris uses this in his race car for drifting, and he loaned it to me to see for size. I put it on the passenger side. I can run all my cables down through the floor, along the frame rail, to my starter. Nice and close. The distance from the battery to there, to honestly here, is not that far. What are we talking? Let's get a rough idea. I'm going to say we're at 1 foot, 2 foot, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're at 6, 7 feet. No problem. And I can get to it if I need to jump start it, but look how nice that sits in there. And there you can see the make of the battery. There you go. 17 pounds is all it weighs. And this battery, you can put it on the side post, put it on the top post. You can turn this battery sideways. You can do whatever you want with this battery. Another make that they're making batteries is, he took it home. No, he didn't take it home, is the Odyssey. Odyssey's making batteries. You'll read about these two. There's the Odyssey right there. That's the 680. Some people are running the 950. It's a little bigger. The 680 is really small. Just remember, if you're going to run either one of these batteries I'm showing you, you need to get the little trickle charger, because they do say that if you're going to run these batteries, they're perfect for you driving your car, but if you're going to leave your car, say, sit for like over a week or so, you should plug it in, because they do have a tendency of going dead quick, but they have a long lifespan. So I think that's the route I'm going to go. So anyway, I made that little panel in there. Allows me to even store a couple little things in here. So that's good. So I got that done. And we'll talk a little further about the battery as we go along on the next step. We're not going to be dealing so much with that today. This is my vent tube off my fuel tank. I have a steel tube that mounts to the floor. that this goes in and on down below, so there's no venting there. I've also got a bigger hole for my fuel line. I can put a grommet in, my fuel line will run through there. So I got all that ready. What else did I do to this old girl? I don't think I did much more other than that, to be honest. Let me look. That's about it. Like I say, I mean, during the week I got to work, so just a couple things got done here and there. But the good news is, great news is we got parts in. So let's go take a look what we got. This is what we're going to be doing today. No, those aren't mine. That's customers. We got the glove box liner in. And we got our cowl lacing in. I also I got my 2500 stall torque converter. So, we got our tranny cooler, which will be later in life. That'll be going onto the frame rail. It's a double one, so what I mean by dual passage is it goes in one way, a lot going one way and come out the other way. I've got this one, so to keep it cooler, it goes in and comes back down. It's still running through the cooler, then out again. Saves me from running an ugly tranny cooler on the front of my radiator where you see it through the grill shell. That's just disgusting. So, there is my glove box aligner, but the most important part that I got today, I'm so happy about, well not today, but during the week. So you all know how I'm putting a 32 firewall in there, and I did it, and you all know how I want to go to 32 Ford cowl vent. There are lots of different cowl vents out there that open up to let fresh air in off Chevy pickups, off Dodge cars, off all sorts of stuff that you could run. You don't have to go to 32. You could save yourself a shitload of money. But for me, I wanted the 32 one. I thought about going with some other cowl vents that I've already got here. Would have saved me money. I could have. But I just wanted to go with the 32 one. If I didn't do it in the end, I'd regret it. If I would have went with something different, just like if I would have flipped the firewall around for clearance, it would have worked. It would have worked just fine. Lots of guys do it, and it looks fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I love the look of the 32. So when I'm building something, I'm like, you know what? I'm only going to do it once, and it's going to be done. So just do what I want and get it done. So yes, you said, you know it. Here we go. It is in. Oh, where are we here? Oh, hang on a second here. Ah, there we go. So I ordered not just the vent, I ordered the whole patch that goes on the cowl because believe it or not, it wasn't that much more, and time is money. That's a 32 right from Brookville. Comes complete. There you are. Ready to rock and roll. So we are going to have a hell of a Sunday fun day today. I highly doubt we're going to get all this done. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take this goddamn glove box liner, not the cowl vent, even though we're all waiting for it. And you can see we're going to be yanking, the dash is just sitting here. We're going to take the dash back out. You can see the original gas tank, the inside. I never did cut it all the way back. So like I said, I don't cut everything apart until I have the parts in pieces so I know where I'm going. You can see how far back that's going to go. Way back in there. So we're going to be cutting this right out of here. So we're going to lift the dash out, get the front gas tank. That was the gas tank back in the 30s. Get that off of there and do some chopping. Fit it back on, make sure I can get my glove box in. Then we're going to start playing with the cowl vent today. That's it. So what do you say? Let's get started. Okay, I lifted the dash off, which like I say, the dash is never bolted down, it just sits here. I am utilizing, here you can see this now, see this? This is your factory bolt holes for the original little dash piece that went on. I'm actually using those on my dash I made. Plus, you can see in the far corner, see that? That's a factory inserted nut there too, which I'm using on my dash. So my dash, this dash I made up, is 51 cut down. I'm actually using all 6 of the original bolt holes for the factory dash, which is kind of cool. So here's your tank upside down. And now what I got to do, like I say, is I got to cut this out. A lot of people just cut that right out. So I'm going to cut that out and then set it back on there. Make sure the glove box is going to fit in there fine, and then we can start on the cowl vent. So let's do some cutting. Alright guys, I'll come around the other side here, but I'll show you what's going on. So I cut the tank out. There's a big hunk of metal actually there I took out of it. For now, on the passenger side, And I grabbed the dash, and I've put my glove box liner in. Look at that. Oh my God, I've got a glove box in a Model A. I can just imagine what I could store in here. So excited over that. Fuck, I can fit like a 12-pack in there. I'm just joking you. I'm gonna fit my registration in there. Nice thing is too, is I've actually got the key for this glove box lock. Yes, I found the key. The lock was on there and I was doing some digging through my shit on the weekend and I found all these old keys out back and I was like, I wonder, because it was a Ford key and sure as shit it locked the door. But anyway, so there we go, the liner fits. So I cut the tank out. I don't know if we can see this down below. So I cut all that out. Now I left it with this back panel. Some people would take that off. I'm going to leave it. The reason is if I need to mount a ground screw or anything somewhere, I'm not going to be drilling through my nice new firewall. I can mount it to this piece, which is harmless. This is doing nothing to anyone. It's not going to hurt no one. So that is perfect. So there we go. That fits. We have a glove box liner. So our next step now is getting our 32 cowl patch out here and laying on top and see just exactly what's going to go on. So let's go grab that and check that out next. Okay, so I pulled the vent part of it out. Obviously all the bolts, the brackets, everything. You think with that kind of money, I hate to be an asshole here to Brookville, but you think with that kind of money they'd give you the rubber seal that goes in there and a screen, but they don't. But anyway, if you're wondering what this piece was worth, don't even ask. It's like gold. So, I can already tell you, which I knew from the day I ordered it, that obviously we're going to be chopping it. For now, I'm going to chop it on this line because this here, from a 32, you can see the difference from that from a 31. We don't need that. And we're obviously going to be chopping it along this line. So we're going to chop that out of there right now to start. All right? Will I throw this kind of stuff out? I never throw anything out that I cut off that has got some sort of fancy custom bends like that. I keep it. I put it underneath my my metal brake because you never know when you're going to need a piece of metal for something that might just consist of that shape. So we're going to chop that off of there right now. Then we'll lay it up there and we'll see where we're at. And yes, this was Brookville. It's a very solid, good piece. I'm happy with it. Look at the welding in that. I would just think probably, I don't know, I got to price it out, but I'm thinking the price of this seal here is probably 10 or 20 bucks, and you think that they would throw that in for you. You would just think they would. But it's like everything nowadays. You know, I mean, I remember back in the day you'd buy carburetor spacers for under carburetors, and they would give you the longer studs with the nuts. Not anymore. That's a separate item you got to buy. Everything is separate these days. So it is what it is. It's all good. Bottom line is, would I recommend this piece from Brookville? I definitely would. Deck lid is from Brookville. Firewall is from United Pacific. Awesome. Awesome. So happy with all these parts. So let's do some cutting. There we go. Chop, chop, right? Okay. The nice thing is, on this part, I don't have to draw any lines right now because I'm just going to go by this factory line for the 32 Ford that they put in here, and I'm just going to cut her there for now. We already know we're going to have to cut more off, but we'll start there for the moment. One piece off. Like I say, don't get rid of it. It comes in handy for something. Piece number 2. There we go. Perfect. So I'm going to shut the camera off for a second. Just going to grind away these jagged edges so you don't cut your hand on it. Then we'll come back and we'll see how this fits. Okay, so here we go. So obviously, this is not going to sit down here flush because it's got the brackets for everything welded on the back. So I'm just going to set it down this way for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that there. I'm going to get a rough idea. That's actually pretty centered right there. But I'll take some tape measurements. So what I'm going to do to start, because like I say, I never like to get carried away with cutting things. I'm going to take this measurement from here to here for lengthwise, and I'm going to cut it a little bit bigger out. I'm going to cut that a little bit bigger out of here. So this will then sit down in there flush. But then what I'm going to do is I'm still going to cut it way back more to utilize this piece of metal, if you know what I'm saying. But right now I want to set it down in there. Let me get this back. I want that to sit down in there flush so I can see if this thing's got the right contour. But by the way I'm looking at this, it's going to fit right in there. It's going to have the perfect contour. I'm looking at it. I'm probably going to have to trim a little more off the edge of this side, maybe this side. Set it in, slowly spot weld it in, and away we go. We're going to have our vent. So, we'll get some measurements here. We'll cut that out of the tank, and then it should sit down over top of that. And you can see what goes on from there. So this is where your swing arm pivots out. This is where a spring attachment comes off. This here is actually your tube for water. If you look, you have to have a drain. So see, it drains down there. And then I'll have to hook a hose onto there, clamp a hose on nicely, and then I'll run it out somewhere to the floor. So, anyway, we'll get some measurements, we'll do some cutting, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. And just so you know, you guys are missing out on a lot of the action here, right? A lot of this, you want to see me doing this stuff. And it's hard, I'm by myself out here. I can't leave this camera run for 8 hours a day on a Sunday, because I'd go in the house and I would be out. Your Sunday fun day would be like a week later I'd post it, because it'd take me forever to edit it. We don't want an 8-hour fucking video of me doing all this shit, right? So I went and got myself a GoPro. I should say I didn't get it. My lovely wife bought me a GoPro for Christmas. So we're going to get that thing figured out, get the battery charged up, and we're going to bring it out here, and we're going to have it so it comes on and off on a timer. For certain jobs, you know, I'm not going to leave it out here all the time because it's quite messy and dusty and dirty out here, and it's just going to fuck it right up. But on days like today, when I know there's nice clean work going on, I'm going to have it out here, and then you'll get to see me a little more in action, cutting and welding and stuff like that. But for now, this is what you're going to have to deal with. Okay, I'm going to get to measuring and cutting. Okay, so I cut out, obviously, some of the crap, and I set it in there. And I set it on there. Now I've got the gas tank obviously off the car, a little easier to work on it on the ground. I've set it up, but look at this. What I'm looking at is, see the curvature of the 32 Ford compared to the 31. And what I mean by curvature, this piece of metal, the only reason that's sitting up right now is I still got this underneath, which I haven't cut out. Look at how that is like pretty much identical. This is an easy swap. An easy swap. If anyone finds a 32 Ford and wants to put this in a 31, or this piece I should say, this is just so easy. It's easier if you have this attached to it, some of the body part. If you just had the vent, you can do that too, but this is much easier this way, in my opinion. So I've kind of drawn my center line. I found it on my tank. I found a center line on this, and how I got the center line off of this was from this centerpiece, the vent itself. So that is showing me where the vent's going to sit. So that is beautiful. And of course, then you got to get your center line, which I got to do right now. You got to get your center line from here to there. So the vent is centered this way. I've got it this way, obviously. Now I got to get this way. Once I get that all figured out, then what I can slowly do is, I think I've shown you guys this before, I'm going to then come in here like I do with quarter panels. If you follow me on my site here, not just building this car, but customer cars, what I do is I usually will cut back this here, and I will leave maybe like an 1/8 of an inch or a little less on here. Then I will set this back down on here, like so, and then
I will slowly trim off that 1/8 of an inch that's sitting, this is sitting on it, if you can imagine that. It'll fall down, this will start to sit flush, spot weld. Cut it a bit more, spot weld. Cut it a bit more, spot weld. That's how I do it. I get the distance of the thickness of the grinding wheel in there, the cutoff wheel. You gotta have space, and I spot weld as I go along, and then it's all nicely butt welded. I shouldn't say spot welded, but then it's all butt welded in place. Then you just take your time and do it. And that's the goal today. The goal is to get this centered and just spot welded, butt welded in a couple spots where it needs to be. Because trust me, the day goes quick. We started here at 10 o'clock and it is already noon right now and I have to eat some lunch. So with that being said, I'm going to go eat some lunch and come back to you in a bit and show you what I've done. So what I'm doing here, guys, if you can see me, hey! What I'm doing here is, if you see this part here, I've left, underneath this piece here, I've left probably this much metal, okay? Like an 1/8 of an inch. I'm cutting alongside this, letting this fall down in, the piece behind's falling down. As it falls down, this falls down, the new piece, and I tack weld it. That's what's going on. Let's do a little further cut here. Okay. So I know it's hard to see in the camera right now, but on this piece now, I just cut here. This is now falling down in, okay? So now what I'm going to do, off with these, on with this. There we go. Then we'll do a spot weld. See here. Perfect. There we go. Spot welded up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this way a little bit. Get this to drop down. Welding helmet off. Protect the old eyeballs. Ear protection on. Go. Nice. Okay, I'm going to show you what's going on here. So let's grab this camera. Okay, so see, I better be careful here, it's hot. See, level. Obviously it's sitting up here, it's still in this piece of metal. See how I'm cutting along. And what I've done is I'm going to flip this, maybe we can see it. There you go. See that? Look at, there's a piece that's coming off, look at. That's all level. That's it. That's how I do it. So I'm going to continue. Get this sucker up here. There we go. I'm going to continue to do that slowly all the way around. So I'll go a little bit further here, cut. This will fall down. I'll get a couple more. I'll come over here, cut. This will fall down, get a couple more. I will just keep working my way all the way around. Then that excess metal will fall out through the bottom. And then once it falls out, then we can go back and we can slowly start filling in the spot welds in between, because you don't want to weld solid until it's all welded up. Right? And you always want a gap between two pieces of metal you're welding. You don't want to have it tight together. Because when you weld, metal expands, and if you have it tight together, that's when you're going to get a lot of warpage. Right now, this is perfectly fine. And you take your time. So there is how I pretty much weld everything. You guys are watching me. Those of you that are just watching the Model A build, if you watch my channel here and you see the cars I do, this is how I do quarter panels, how I do everything. And it works out perfect every time. Now you can buy the clamps that go in between. A lot of people have those that hold it in place too. But for me, it's quicker and easier this way, to me. I sit there and put all them goddamn clamps on. By the time you get that shit lined on, I can already have this pretty much buttoned up. So there we are. So let's get the ball rolling and I'll get going here. We are getting there. Look what we got left. Just a little more cutting here. Right along here. I've cut there. Cut up to this line. Just got this little bit and it's going to fall through. And that's it. Look at this. So happy. So happy I had to stop and get myself, you know what I had to get myself? A Coca-Cola in the glass bottle. Because I'm telling you, hell yeah, this Sunday's a fun day. Fuck yeah. Super excited. Everything's turning out beautiful. So, that being said, I'm going to get to doing a little more cutting here, get this tacked in place. I can't wait. I might actually have this thing welded up before the end of the day. We're getting close. Okay, well, we're left with a pile of scrap metal laying on the floor, but what we do have is, look at that, we have one 1932 Ford Cowl vent installed in a 31 Model A. There you go, folks. All butt welded in. Look at that. Now this is just sitting on here, the tank. I got to move the tank a little bit. You can see I haven't got the firewall bolted down, so it's just sitting here, so it's hard to see an image, but there it is. I love it. It's centered. I've measured it over and over and over again. If that thing ain't centered, I don't know what is. So there we go. It is in there. Here, I'll flip it up. Let you guys have a look as it flips up here. Let me get in here. You get, I believe it's got 4 positions. Where are we here? 1, 2. There's the second position. It opens up quite a ways. Look at that. That is going to be awesome. It's going to be so good for the cool air. Now what I got to do is I have to look into this because I do believe that they would have had a screen across here. Now of course I've got the bolts and nuts on backwards. It should have, the bolt head should be the other way. Don't look at shit like that. This is just mock-up. I get so many people that sometimes, believe it or not, I get some people that write into me and they say, Rick, the dashboard looks like it's sitting down a bit in the corner. Well, yeah, because I just threw it in the car. It's not bolted in. I know it's sitting down in the corner. Everything right now as I'm going through this is this mock-up. So I haven't got, I bolted everything in, made sure everything was lined up, but right now as I'm showing you guys, I'm just setting it back on because I got to blow it apart again. So, yeah. So I do know that these bolts obviously should be the other way around. You don't want to see that ugly looking nuts and threads showing through there. So I don't know on the 32s. I got to do some research. I know there's got to be some sort of a rubber seal across here somewhere, but there must be like some sort of screen that goes in here. If not, I'll make something because all the shit would just fall down there, right? So I am super stoked about that. Get over here. And you know what? You know what the funny thing is that I love the cowl vent for the air it's going to let in in the summertime if the car's hot inside, but I don't like the look of it when it's open. I prefer the look of it when it's closed. Isn't that weird? That's so strange. Just my way of thinking. So let's see here. Okay, so there's 3 positions. Sorry, that's fully open. That is fully open right there. There you go. And you have to remember too, which I didn't show you guys because I took it back off. I popped the windshield in here because the windshield pops open too on the Model A. So, but it clears. When the windshield comes in, it literally just goes, they just clear. It's like everything was meant to be here. So what I got to do next, is I'm going to lift this back out, the tank back out. The gentleman who built the car before, he made a nice piece of metal for the drop column thing that's going on here, and I'm going to reutilize that. And he's welded this on here, but the plate that he welded it to, he just, as you can see, he pop riveted it to this tank area. I don't trust the pop rivets. Not that this is ever going to go anywhere on these old Ford columns. They're fixed right to the steering box. But still, I want to weld this under here, across here. I'll leave the pop rivets there, whatever, I don't give a shit, but I'm going to weld it across there so I know. And what I'm also going to do is now, as you can see, I've cut the tank out. This is just a flimsy thing, well, it's not flimsy, it's just sitting there. I'm going to weld, I had to make sure where this was going to open and close. I'm going to weld a piece of metal from here up to here to strengthen this, is what I'm going to do. And then I can use this compartment, I can still get behind my dash to get to the gauges, because I've cut this back enough. But I can use this compartment if I want to mount things in it and stuff like that. So I don't want to be cutting this section of the tank out. So we'll get that out of there now. I think there's enough time in the day where I can maybe get that done. We're still doing good here. I think we still got like an hour or so of playtime. Okay guys, as you can see, so I put just I welded it on the corner and the center corner. Good enough. Ground down the rivets that were coming through, left the rivets still in it, so they're biting it a bit. And then what I did was I put this plate in here. Did 3 good welds on it, inch long. Welded in the corner there, welded across here. Good and solid, 16 gauge. I put a big heavy piece in because basically because I had this piece of metal laying here and it fit here actually. So I put that in there. So you can see the rest is all opened up. You can imagine when the dash is on here, the glove box is going to sit way back in here. This is all open. You got to leave this open because you got to get your handle in here to work your vent like that. But this is good if I wanted to, say, drill a couple holes and mount something or hide something up in here and behind the dash. It's good. When I set this in, when this is in here, my dash still sits like this far out. Like, and I can actually lay underneath the dash and I can get to the lights to change the light bulbs. So this is not interfering with anything. Where some people might cut all this out thinking it's in the way, but on my car it's not. So there we go. I am happy with what we have gotten done today. That's right, I say we because you guys are all following along and you make it fun. As I'm making these videos, I'm like, everyone's expecting to see something Sunday night. Well, you probably watch it Monday because it does go up late here on Sunday night. And I don't know, this gives you a little extra enthusiasm to know people are watching. Alright, there we are. So it's pretty damn cool. So I'm going to set that on there now. And I got a little more time left here. I don't know what I'm going to do, but let me set that on there and then, oh well, maybe I'll be back. Okay, well, my ignition came in, which I forgot to show you guys last week. You remember this little plate I had made that's going to go underneath my dash? And this is going to have my fuel gauge. If the fuel gauge on the instrument cluster is garbage, we're going to utilize this as my other fuel gauge, my Stewart Warner one that came in the car that did work. So this basically is going to go, well, I shouldn't have put this together now, I can't really show you, but this isn't going to work to show you here. Well, maybe not, well, okay, let's see, there we go. So that's kind of going to sit there. Remember, I made this myself. There's where my ignition is. I put my key down there. I didn't want my key on the dash. I wanted it down here. Some people like them on the dash. I thought down here is handy. I have a lot of keys and shit, and this way here, if it's down here, it's not much, you know, it's going to scratch my dash up over time. Right down here, it's kind of cool. Makes the dash look a little cleaner. And then the fuel gauge will go here. Then obviously we'll have oil, volts or amps, whatever, and then temperature. All right, so that's kind of cool. I kept it offset. If you look, I didn't center it from the top to the bottom. I left it like that so I can put a couple dummy lights if I ever need like a couple dummy lights in there for something. Say I'm going to put a toggle switch somewhere and I want to put a light so I know when the toggle switch is on, I can stick it on there, right? So that's kind of cool. I'll show you guys what else is coming. Okay, so we're all familiar with Dynamat. All right, there's all sorts of Dynamat. There's Dynamat, there's Xmat, there's all sorts of stuff out there on the market. Dynamat's getting pretty pricey for me. I mean, for something I don't see, I don't want to spend a lot of money. So anyway, I went onto Amazon. Almost everybody has an Amazon account nowadays. Went on Amazon, found the same thickness, the same ply. I can't remember what it is here. And I get the same amount of this material in a box. Dynamat is $209 here in Canada for a box of it. This was $74. And it's black. You can get silver or black. I went with the black. I don't want to do the silver we'll just say Dynamat. I don't want to do the silver Dynamat anywhere in my car because I'm not going to have the upholstery done right away in my car. I'm going to drive it for this season with no upholstery and then ship it off next winter while I'm not driving it. So I went with the black because the silver just looks gaudy as hell to me. And I also like the black for the fact that let's say they can't get the upholstery right up underneath the dash, underneath the firewall. I don't want this silver reflecting underneath there. I'd sooner have the black. So this is what I bought. And it was 74 bucks. Here we go. It's called, I don't know how you pronounce that, Nico Solutions. You know, it gives you a little pamphlet, shows you where everything needs to go. You know, tells you what tools you need, which I've already got. So this stuff is exactly, look at this. I'm not going to pull it all out of the box here, but it's exactly the same. Exactly. I even like how it's kind of got that diamond look to it. Beautiful stuff. Super sticky. You can peel it off. I mean, this shit's really good. So there we go. I don't think it says anything on the box itself. What the hell? Let's see. Anyway. No, it just says you get 36 square feet, 80 millimeter. There's different thicknesses you can get too. And there it is. They also have the thicker firewall pad one, which I've ordered for the firewall. So I'm going to use this inside on my side panels, on my floor and that. Then I've got a thicker one for the firewall coming. So, yeah. So that I got that. So what else I did here was some people, I've seen some people write in, when they make this a trunk lid, your water runs down here. And on these cars, normally the floor went down like that and had a drain trough down below because your gutter ends here. We'll call it a gutter, okay? Anyway, here I got this. Got that in the way. I've seen some people write in and say, oh my God, I put a flat floor in my car. Never again will I do that in my Model A because the water won't come out. Well, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, it's quite simple. I cut a hole with a hole saw, got a round tube, stuck it far enough up the gutter so the water comes down. I welded it solid all the way around in there. The water runs into this tube now, and I've got it so it exits right on the ground below my car there. So there you go, man. If you've got a flat floor in there because you've altered your frame, this works. This works. I can't show. I'm not going to show you right now. Obviously, I got the camera in my hand, but this is something I did during the week. I forgot to show you, and I poured a little bit of water down there out of a little plastic container. You know, I mean, obviously the water's not going to flood in here. It's rainwater. So you're just going to get like a light skim of water. And I poured some in there, and it ran down and went right in the tube. And I did that so I could make sure I had welded in between here and got it good and solid. So there we go. There's my exit for my water. Right down through there. One on either side. This is just I've just got this piece of metal in here holding the trunk lid up for right now. But you can see the other one's right down in there. So that's it. So we got that done. We got our ignition cut. I think we're coming to the end of our Sunday fun day. I know it seems like oh fuck. I know it seems like we didn't get a lot done. But that's about all you're going to get done. Because it takes time. When you did that Cowl vent, you can't just, I was there for hours, even though it seems like it was quick on the video. Because you got to just weld it slowly back and forth and cool it with the air so you get no warpage whatsoever. I am so happy with that. So happy. So I'm going to play with the car a little bit this week. When you guys aren't around, unfortunately. See what else I can do. A couple little things. I'll keep the major stuff for you guys to watch. But we are so close to this car being ripped off the frame now. I'm just waiting on my brake pedal. I'm waiting on my brake pedal so I can see if there's a difference between how it mounts up to the frame from that one. Then I can finish the floor off. And then honestly, I think I have mocked everything up in this car that needs to be mocked up. And I think this body can come off the frame. And then we'll get it off the frame and we'll get it over to Sean. And then folks, look out, because we got another project coming in February and you're going to love it. You're going to love this project. I'm telling you, it's big time cool, and it's not my gasser. So hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. That was another good Sunday fun day. Give me a big hell yeah if you like what you saw. Okay, see you later.